Power Pod peeps, Shannon here with another Power Pop. A couple of things happened this week that got me thinking about the topic of rest. The first is my husband and I went to see a movie about a week and a half ago. I've always loved the movies. I've always loved sitting in the dark. But this week in particular, that moment when all the lights go down and the theater gets as dark as it's going to be, I let out a sigh and my body relaxed in such a huge way that I thought, there is something about this darkness and lack of stimulation that I really needed. The second thing happened yesterday. After about 11 hours at my day job, which is in the outdoor adventure industry, specifically river rafting, so this time of year is really busy, I'd spent about 11 hours talking to so many different guests, emails, phone calls, trying to solve problems, all of that. I opened an email at about 7 o'clock last night and just couldn't. And I know that sounds dramatic, but I couldn't address one more person's needs. I couldn't answer one more person's questions. I was just tapped out. And so those two things together highlighted for me that there are some areas in my life where rest is really necessary right now. And so I started wondering about the different kinds of rest. So I did a little research and found an author, a rest expert, if you will, by the name of Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith. She has pioneered this concept of the 7 different kinds of rest. I think when we think about resting, we think specifically about physically resting, taking a nap, getting a good night's sleep. But I know there are circumstances where you get a really good night's sleep and you still don't feel refreshed the next morning, or vice versa, where you don't sleep well, but you're still mentally and emotionally able to function the next day, but you're snappy with the people in your life, or you're still feeling like you're lacking some kind of purpose in your world. Rest is important. As a result, the restoration that comes from rest can really enhance your life. If you don't know how to rest, you're never going to find balance. The 7 areas that Dr. Dalton Smith identifies as places where we can rest are physical rest, mental rest, sensory rest, emotional rest, social rest, creative rest, and spiritual rest. All of those things together can combine to create a very restorative, holistic, fully functioning human being. We'll start with physical rest, which is the act of giving your body a break. I don't necessarily think it means just laying down and not moving. This also includes things like yoga or taking a walk, treating yourself to a massage, things that help rebuild you physically and help alleviate fatigue. If you have a really intense workout, it's good to take a rest day every now and again because otherwise your body breaks down. So how do you know if you need physical rest? Usually your body just is exhausted. You're in a lot of pain. Maybe you worked out too hard yesterday. If you're feeling physically run down, take a break. And if those feelings go on for too long, maybe get yourself checked out by a doctor. It's also possible that other areas in life that you may be ignoring, like if you're needing social rest or emotional rest or mental rest, if you don't give yourself those, then those can lead to a physical breakdown as well. So all of these things are interconnected. Second, we move on to mental rest. We are so programmed to multitask in our culture. There's such value placed on achievement that it's really easy to just kind of work yourself to death. Taking short breaks throughout the day. I know we talk about mindfulness, maybe meditation, even sometimes just stopping what you're doing and moving fully onto something different. Focus on one thing, or maybe don't concentrate or focus at all. Just sit for a minute and breathe. That can really help. My husband is a brilliant man, but because his brain works all the time, it wears him out. And in all of the time we've been together, there is one night where I know he got enough sleep. We went on vacation and he fell asleep early, like 7, 8 p.m. and woke up, no joke, 16 hours later. And it is the most refreshed I have ever seen a human being. And that is the one night that I know he got enough sleep and woke up feeling like a whole new person. Sensory rest. This is what was going on for me in the movie theater. Images that we see all day, every day on our phones, on our computers, just the world flashing by us all day long. It's beautiful. Man, is it overwhelming sometimes. And when the lights went down in that movie theater and there wasn't anything to see or hear, it was such a beautiful half a second. Sometimes you just gotta unplug, literally and figuratively, from devices, from the world. I'm a huge advocate for this, but I also think it's interesting that my husband gave me a gift certificate for a stretch in a sensory deprivation tank a couple of years ago, which I have never used because there is something about the concept of being in that tank with no stimuli that terrifies me. Emotional rest is about not feeling like you have to constantly put on a face for the outside world, not feeling like you have to suppress emotions, feeling like you can be exactly who you are without being judged. There are probably very few spaces that we feel like we can be emotionally free and safe. So, working on inner peace is a big deal, avoiding emotional burnout. So, if you're constantly feeling emotionally drained or unsupported, work on being real and accepting with yourself and take a look at the people that you're spending time with and what they are offering you or what they're actually giving you that is toxic. Social rest. If you are an introvert, like my mom and I are, you've probably noticed that spending time with people can be exhausting. Even if they are people who are supportive and love you, just the act of being with other people can be really draining. If those people are in any way negative, as we like to say in my family, black holes, they just take and take and take, but they don't give anything back to you. They don't help replenish you. Maybe taking a break from those people is a good idea. Being able to say no to social obligations is super important. I've noticed watching my folks, they're very social people. They have a lot of good friends, but they tend to go in cycles. Sometimes they'll have weeks where they're really busy and they have plans 3 or 4 nights out of the week. But after that, they usually choose to stay home for a couple weeks and they're just recharging. Even if it's a great time with good people, knowing that sometimes you just need to be alone or with your significant other or with your really good friend is really important and can go a long way towards helping refresh your life. Creative rest. This was one that was new to me. This is about feeling stagnant in your creative life. If life is feeling dull, like you're not finding joy in the things you used to take great pleasure in, if you work in a business where you are constantly problem solving or it's your job to be creative, that can get old. And after a while, it just kind of feels like you're cranking things out, but you're not feeling the spark anymore. So if you're feeling uninspired, stuck in a creative rut, stop, pivot, maybe try something new. Start looking for other ways to ignite your fire. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of change, paying attention to the now, finding some kind of inspiration outside of your normal venues. Lastly, number 7, this is spiritual rest. I'm a pretty spiritual person. I'm aware of a variety of different kinds of religions, but really don't subscribe to any one. I'm much more attuned to the universe, more metaphysical aspects of life. Spirituality is important to me, but it never occurred to me that it was an important part of my rest recipe. If you're longing for more inner peace or some kind of a feeling of guidance or direction, you may be in need of some spiritual rest. This is about reflection, maybe joining a community of people who think similarly to the way you do, maybe checking out a variety of different communities that are very different from what you've always known. Exploration is important here. Something that resonates within you can help you find spiritual rest. And then when you put all of these together, you get this really cool soup that will bring you back to life, essentially. For me, this week, the 2 areas I know I really need to focus on are sensory rest and mental, emotional, social. For the next couple of days, while I am not engaged in my day job, I'm going to go out of my way to put down devices. I'm hopefully not going to watch as much TV, and I'm going to spend time with good people and maybe spend a lot of time alone and just try to refresh and find a little bit more joy and spark and energy that way. So if you are feeling in any way depleted, I encourage you, check out the different kinds of rest, figure out where it is that you are missing the downtime, and try some new stuff. It'll help you create the life you want.